Thanks for joining us here on THV 11 News at noon on this Thursday. I'm Michael Aaron. We have a lot of news to get to during this half hour, but first we want to start with meteorologist Scott Covert. Scott, a quiet day around central Arkansas. Nice sunshine too.
Yesterday, it is nice here in central Arkansas. The sun is shining, but what you're looking at behind me is in northwestern Arkansas, and believe it or not, despite the fact that it's March 31st, snow is falling right now. Take a look at this. We are continuing to see that snow move into parts of northwestern Arkansas, and it's going to continue moving through the northern part of the state today. Your satellite and radar shows it really well. That snow mixing in with a little bit of rain in far northwestern parts of the area. Your chance of rain in central Arkansas today pretty low. It is going to be a cool one though, 55. That's our current reading in Little Rock. Up in the northern part of the state, we're in the 40s. So while the snow is falling, it's certainly not going to stick and it will not be problematic. Today we'll see a high temperature of 61 degrees. The clouds continuing to build back into the area. A little bit of rain certainly possible in northern Arkansas. Overnight tonight, temperatures are going to drop into the 30s. Our skies are going to clear and the winds are going to calm down, and that is a recipe for frost. So if you have already planted, well, you need to pay close attention to the forecast. I'll have some tips for you on how to battle that frost here coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Scott, sounds good. Now let's get to some of today's top stories. North Little Rock police are investigating an early morning shooting. Officers responded to a call at the intersection of Landsbrook and East Bethany just after 4:30 this morning. They found a man who had been shot. The victim was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. North Little Rock police ask anyone with information to give them a call. Meanwhile, police in North Little Rock have made an arrest in a homicide from last night. It happened around 6 o'clock yesterday evening in the 4200 block of Turner Street. A 911 caller said someone had been shot. The victim later died at the hospital, and we're now learning their identity, 33-year-old Willie Boyd Jr. This morning, officers arrested 19-year-old Robert Burnett in connection to his death. He's charged with first-degree murder. Now to Atkins, where the suspect in an attempted break-in is dead after being shot by law enforcement officers. Atkins police officers and Pope County Sheriff's deputies responded to the initial call near West Main Street at about 9:40 last night. According to Arkansas State Police, a total of 4 officers shot as the suspect advanced toward them with a piece of metal pipe. Investigators say he ignored commands to drop the pipe. Police have not released the name of the officers involved or the man who was killed. The state police investigation will be submitted to the Pope County prosecuting attorney to determine if deadly force was justified. A Little Rock police officer is on administrative leave today after discharging his weapon. According to LRPD, it happened in Saline County yesterday while the officer was off duty. We've reached out to the Saline County Sheriff's Office for more information. We do know the officer, again, is on administrative leave pending the Sheriff's Office criminal investigation and an LRPD professional standards investigation. 10 Arkansans are awaiting trial after allegedly withdrawing almost $3 million worth of pandemic unemployment funds they weren't entitled to. They allegedly used unemployment debit cards to withdraw pandemic funds made available through the CARES Act. One of the suspects, an employee of California's Employment Development Department, allegedly issued the debit cards, removed fraud blocks, and added credits to unemployment accounts. All 10 people suspected in the fraud ring are awaiting trial on charges of conspiracy to commit bank fraud and wire fraud. Now to South Arkansas. Students and staff in the Warren School District are learning virtually today and working virtually today. It comes after a fire-damaged part of Warren High School. The Bradley County Rural Fire Department shared these pictures from a live feed on its Facebook page Wednesday. We understand the fire started around 6 o'clock near the gym there at the high school. Fire departments from as far away as Monticello responded to get that fire under control. Still no word on what caused it all, but THV 11's Frederick Price will have more from Warren tonight at 5 and 6. Cleanup continues in northwest Arkansas this afternoon after a powerful tornado went through Springdale yesterday morning. 7 people were hurt, 2 of them critically in what is now confirmed as an EF3 tornado. Winds reached up to 145 miles per hour on the 5-mile track through Johnston and Springdale. Here's a look at some of the damage in a neighborhood there. The tornado came through early yesterday morning around 4 a.m. while many people were sleeping, so you can only imagine the horror there. The Washington County judge has declared an emergency. The same line of storms that came through Arkansas produced a tornado outbreak in Mississippi. Several mobile homes flipped over in high winds near Columbus. 2 people inside were hurt. In South Haven, Mississippi, near Memphis, the roof of a warehouse collapsed. Police say everyone inside is safe and accounted for. Ukrainian officials say peace talks with Russia will resume virtually on Friday as the war rages on. The UN estimates about 4 million Ukrainians have fled their nation to escape harm from the Russian invasion. Deborah Alfarone has the latest for us from Washington.
The White House says senior advisors to Russian President Vladimir Putin are afraid to tell him the truth about the war in Ukraine.
We believe that Putin is being misinformed by his advisors about how badly the Russian military is performing.
Officials say that could complicate a future peace agreement if Putin thinks he's in better shape than he really is.
That he may not fully understand the degree to which his forces are failing in Ukraine. That's a little discomforting.
A top British spy chief noted the struggles Russian forces are having in the battlefield.
We've seen Russian soldiers, short of weapons and morale, refusing to carry out orders, sabotaging their own equipment, and even accidentally shooting down their own aircraft.
Tatiana Chornoval is a former politician and mother of 2. Now she serves on Ukraine's front lines, taking out tanks. She told CBS News this was one of her hits. The Russians are fighting stupidly, she says. They don't have a strategy or tactics. They're falling into the same traps. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky thanked President Biden for an additional $500 million in aid, which will go toward maintaining government services. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a decree on the spring military draft with more than 134,000 new recruits to be added to the Russian army. Are you ready for some good COVID news in Arkansas? Well, check this out. UAMS Chancellor Dr. Cam Patterson tweeted, "The hospital has 0 COVID patients right now, 0 COVID patients at UAMS. He noted they at one point had as many as 100 patients during the Omicron peak. We told you last week the hospital ended its vaccine clinic and drive-through testing site. Patterson added, "We are not out of the woods, but it's nice to have a vision of a better future." While COVID remains the top health story around the world, there are other health stories people are talking about this afternoon, from exercise helping people deal with depression to why lung cancer screenings are so important. Laura Podesta has a look at some of the day's top health stories.
A new review of data finds increased lung cancer screenings have saved an estimated 10,000 lives since 2014. Researchers found the introduction of screenings was associated with more patients being diagnosed early and improved survival. Researchers say those benefits did not extend to patients living in low-income areas or to racial minority groups, demonstrating the need to increase access to screenings. A joint study at Boston Children's Hospital and the CDC finds COVID vaccinations for children 5 to 11 cut Omicron hospitalizations by 68%. Overall, researchers found from July 2021 to February 2022, 88% of patients hospitalized with COVID-19 were unvaccinated, and 25% in that group had critical illness requiring life-supporting interventions. And a new study at Iowa State University finds 30 minutes of exercise can reduce symptoms of depression for 75 minutes after a workout. Researchers say the benefit waned over time, but believe this finding can help people with depression accomplish psychologically or cognitively demanding tasks immediately after exercise. That's a look at some of the day's top health stories. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
The highest criminal court in Texas refuses to hear an appeal by former Dallas police officer Amber Geiger. She was convicted of murder in the death of Harding University alum Botham Jean. Geiger's attorneys maintained that she thought she was firing in legitimate self-defense, but a Texas jury didn't buy it and sentenced her to 10 years in prison. 2 justices of the 9-member court felt the appeal should be heard. The other 7 justices said no. Geiger will be up for parole in 2024. Actor and comedian Chris Rock is breaking his silence for the first time since being slapped by Will Smith at the Oscars Sunday. Rock performed a sold-out stand-up show in Boston last night. During that show, he said he's still processing the Oscars incident. Smith is facing disciplinary action from the Academy for the hit that came after Rock made a joke about his wife. In a statement released Wednesday, the Academy said it was still deciding how to discipline Smith for violations of the Academy's standards of conduct. A new report examines seatbelt safety in your vehicle. We'll share what experts say could be a life-saving change just ahead. Scott.
Clouds building into the natural state here this afternoon. Some of us have a chance of rain, and many of us have a chance of a frost overnight. Coming up in 2 minutes, we'll take a look at your THV 11 extended forecast.